What? Getting pregnant at 37 is disgusting. She's already an old hag.
I ran into my ex-husband at the hospital on my way to a routine checkup. He spewed insults at me with a smirk on his face, leaving me speechless. I am 37 years old, certainly not young anymore. For me, who is determined to become a mother and protect this child while facing risks and battling anxiety every day, my ex-husband's heartless words deeply pierced my heart.
By the way, after I dumped you, what kind of man did you seduce? Did you seduce another young man? Well, no decent man would marry an Asian woman like you.
My ex-husband laughed. However, at that moment, not only me but also the people around us froze. Stop it! How rude! Don't you know who this person's husband is?
Huh?
First, let me talk about my ex-husband. My name is Zoe. From an outsider's perspective, I was supposed to have been living a happy married life until 5 years ago. Floyd, my ex-husband, was a doctor. When we first met, he was still a fledgling intern. Meanwhile, I worked at a cafeteria near the hospital where my ex-husband worked. It was a 24-hour cafeteria that offered delicious meals anytime. For busy physicians and particularly inexperienced interns, the cafeteria was like an oasis where they could easily stop by and enjoy delicious meals anytime. My ex-husband, Floyd, was also a regular customer who would often come to the cafeteria looking exhausted. He would always come late at night. While eating a set meal after 10 hours of not eating, my intern ex-husband would often vent about his struggles.
Maybe I'm not cut out to be a doctor.
He said this after being tired of hard work. Since I worked in customer service, I did my best to comfort my ex-husband, who had a pale face, and ease his burden, even if only a little. That's not true. You're doing a great job as a doctor.
But I'm always getting scolded by my senior doctors. Even the nurses complain that I'm not efficient enough.
You don't have to worry about other people's complaints. At least I know all the doctors are doing their best for their patients. Now, would you like some more bread?
Yes, please.
Thus, listening to the problems of young doctors like this was also an important role of the 24-hour cafeteria. Not only satisfying customers' stomachs, but also their hearts. That was the management policy of the cafeteria owner, and as someone who had worked there for a long time, I had faced the worries and complaints of many doctors. I believe that many people were able to recover from their struggles through this. As for my ex-husband, the effect was beyond my imagination.
Zoe, you have given me the confidence I need to be a doctor.
After finishing his internship and standing on his own, my ex-husband faced me directly and made an appeal.
I think I'd be lost without you, Zoe. I want you to continue to stand by me and support me as a doctor. Not as a cafeteria worker, but as a woman.
It was a proposal. My ex-husband had already even prepared an engagement ring. But we have an age difference.
That doesn't matter. Zoe, you're only 31, so I don't think that's anywhere near being an old lady. Sure, there's a bit of an age gap between me at 25 and you, but I want you, Zoe. No, it has to be you.
The deciding factor for accepting the proposal was his sincerity. I wanted to support him. Even his childish side was an attractive quality to me at the time. We soon got married. I went from being a cafeteria worker to a doctor's wife. I knew that some people made fun of me for being after money and criticized my age, but I didn't think it was a problem. As long as we loved each other and stayed committed to each other, everything would be fine. But it seemed that way only briefly after we were married.
Hey, you're old.
I was hit by ruthless verbal abuse right in front of me.
Put on more makeup. Your face is embarrassing to show to people.
Don't say it like that.
Look at the wives that my colleagues bring to hospital parties. They're all young and beautiful, and they all have decent education. On the other hand, what about you? You worked at a cafeteria right after graduating high school, didn't you? It's obvious that you don't have an education.
But
from now on, I won't take you anywhere with colleagues. You just need to do housework at home. Having an old wife like you is really embarrassing."
Looking back now, I realize that this was probably my ex-husband's true nature. Proposing to me saying he didn't mind me being older was just a whim. No, to him, it was the biggest mistake of his life. Maybe until he met me, he had never really dated any women. He was too busy studying to become a doctor. But as he became more successful in his career, he gained more confidence as a man. Looking at the partners of his colleagues, they were all young, beautiful, and well-educated women. In contrast, his wife was. My ex-husband clearly regretted marrying me, and in fact, I endured a lot of verbal abuse from him within a year of our marriage. Old hag, ugly, uneducated. It was true that compared to the wives of his colleagues, I lacked youth and beauty, so I endured the verbal abuse he threw at me. However, my ex-husband would even scoff at that. "Oh, what's this?" It was while I was taking care of my ex-husband's suit. In his suit pocket, I found a receipt for a credit card payment. When I checked the contents, I found evidence of large purchases of brand-name bags and shoes at a high-end store. I immediately questioned my ex-husband. "Did you give these to some women? Women's bags and shoes?"
"Shut up! It has nothing to do with you, old hag."
"Don't say it has nothing to do with me. This brand here is popular among young women, I think."
"Oh yeah, I bought it for a certain woman. She's much younger and prettier than you are. I met her at a drinking party with colleagues."
"A drinking party?"
"Yeah, don't get all worked up. It was a gathering of young doctors and college girls from top universities. Her name is Kate. Unlike you, she's a well-educated lady."
I was speechless. It was a clear confession of infidelity. My ex-husband was probably not only meeting this woman at group dates, but also privately. That's why he was spending so much on expensive gifts for her. The fact that he didn't even try to hide it from his wife was unbelievable. In a nonchalant manner, my ex-husband continued speaking.
"When I told Kate about you, she said she feels sorry for me. A young guy like me with a good income married to an old woman like you. She was worried that I was being deceived."
"Deceived? What are you talking about?"
"That's why I've made up my mind. I'm going to divorce you, an old hag, and marry Kate. You're just a hindrance now."
"What?"
"Oh, and don't be greedy and ask for alimony, okay? You are already lucky enough to marry me. Just go back to being a cafeteria lady." "Oh wait, that's what you are." I will never forget the mocking laughter of my ex-husband that I heard at the time. He denied my very existence. As a wife, as a woman, and even as a human being. He even denigrated my original profession. I had told him he could get back on his feet in that late-night cafeteria. Once I realized what kind of man he was, I had no more lingering feelings for him. I did not seek alimony or property. The lawyer who intervened said, "Let's fight," but all I could think of was to leave my ex-husband's presence as soon as possible. I hated even breathing a second longer in the proximity of such a man. After the divorce, I found out that my ex-husband had quickly remarried. His new partner was Kate, the recipient of the name brand bag. I received an email from my ex-husband with photos of their wedding, but I decided to delete them and never have anything to do with them again. And then 5 years passed. I lived a quiet life, working as a clerk, away from my ex-husband. Those 5 years slowly healed me from the exhaustion of living with him. Luckily, I met a sincere man of the same age, and we got married shortly thereafter. I was carrying a new life in my belly. Although people around me were worried about my pregnancy at the age of 37, my husband encouraged me, saying, "It'll be fine with modern medical technology."
and I was able to safely reach the 6th month of pregnancy. It was during a regular checkup at a nearby university hospital that it happened.
Hey, Zoe?
In the hospital corridor, the person who called out to me was my ex-husband, Floyd, whom I had divorced. For 5 years, we never saw each other at all. I had no idea what my ex-husband, Floyd, had been up to, since he only contacted me once to send me wedding photos, which felt more like harassment than anything else. After 5 years, my ex-husband, who had gained a dignity befitting his age, grinned when he saw me, his gaze immediately settling on my belly.
What is it? You're pregnant? Even though you're getting older? You've got such a big belly.
I don't care about you anymore. I remarried too.
I can't understand that guy. You're already 37, right? Getting pregnant at that age, to be honest, is disgusting. You're practically a grandma now.
After 5 years, my ex-husband's abusive language had not changed. He was still a terrible man. Not only that, he even made fun of my unborn baby. I knew it was pointless to engage with him, so I silently turned my back on him.
Hey, wait a minute.
I told you, it's none of your business. Don't talk to me.
Huh, that attitude of yours is a problem. Actually, I've been assigned to work at this university hospital starting today. My achievements at my previous job have been recognized. I'll also be given an important position. Isn't it in your best interest to be polite to me?
I'd rather give birth to a baby at home than be polite to you.
Why is someone like you even coming to this hospital? This is a high-class hospital with only the best doctors, favored by celebrities. A neighborhood clinic is enough for a middle-aged woman like you to get a prenatal checkup.
Certainly, this hospital is reputed as one of the best in the industry. But that doesn't mean it's exclusively for the rich and famous, and all the doctors here are honest and hard-working people.
What kind of man are you trying to seduce this time? Did you lure another young man?
That's none of your business.
It's probably another man weak enough to fall for a middle-aged woman like you, just like me.
I was only trying to support you. I never took advantage of your weaknesses. As expected, you're still the worst person.
The worst is your current husband, marrying an old woman like you and even impregnating you. He must be a total loser, a worthless man who's only fit for someone like you.
The surrounding people became restless at the words uttered by my ex-husband. In addition to patients, many staff members such as doctors and nurses were coming and going in the hospital corridor. Most of them fell silent as if they had sensed something. I turned back to my ex-husband and spoke in a quiet voice. I told you, it's none of your business. Don't talk to me.
Is a pregnant old woman really that embarrassing? Then you shouldn't have gotten pregnant in the first place. You're so shallow, both you and your stupid husband.
That's enough. Don't insult my husband any further. It won't do any good for you.
Don't talk so high and mighty. Who's your stupid husband anyway?
My current husband is the son of the hospital director. After saying that, I could see Floyd's face contorting. I thought to myself what a stupid guy he was. But my ex-husband's gaze had already passed my face and turned to the end of the hallway. A deliberate cough echoed through the hallway. When I turned around, I saw a familiar face. A father-in-law. No, director.
Director? I've heard what happened. This hallway carries sound so well, you know.
A father-in-law. What about him?
Leave it to me and my son. We can't just let this man's behavior go unpunished. Wait a minute, I didn't do anything. You can make your excuses in my office. We need to discuss what to do with you moving forward.
The following story was told to me by my current husband after everything was over. My current husband, who is also a doctor working at the hospital, was introduced to me by the owner of a diner where I used to work. Although I said we met by chance, the truth is that I was introduced to my current husband by the owner of a local diner I used to work at. The owner knew that I had gone through a divorce and introduced me to one of his irregular customers who happened to be a doctor. Unlike my ex-husband, my current husband never brought up my age or looks, and I felt genuinely relieved to have met him. According to what my current husband told me, after the incident in the hallway, my ex-husband was taken to the office of the hospital director. The director, my ex-husband, and my current husband had a 2-hour interrogation session.
Your remarks are simply unacceptable.
At the opening of the meeting, the director, my father-in-law, said in a cold voice,
Let's put your personal preferences aside for now. Whether you dislike older women or are infatuated with younger ones, that is your personal matter. It's not something the hospital needs to be aware of. But the biggest problem is that you made derogatory remarks in front of other patients, calling an older pregnant woman disgusting. Well, but of course, this university hospital has a department of obstetrics and gynecology. Many pregnant women come here, carrying their hopes and fears for childbirth. Among them, there are many who are worried about having a baby at an older age.
Here, Gavin, now my husband, joined the conversation.
I'm an OB/GYN. My wife Zoe was anxious about having a baby at 37, so I offered to do the tests on her myself. That's why they go to our hospital. Let me be clear. Childbirth at my wife's age is not uncommon. You, as a fellow doctor, didn't even understand such a thing. As a doctor, no, as a person, I cannot forgive someone like you. Yes, you are right. You owe Zoe an apology as a person first. Every woman of any age has the right to give birth. It's our job as doctors to do everything we can to support that. You have underestimated that. Not only that, you hurt Zoe with your cold words.
My flustered ex-husband countered with a blue face.
That woman, Zoe, she was my wife. She talked me into things when I was feeling down. So I'm the victim here. I was tormented until we got divorced. I have every right to say bad things and complain a little. I've heard the stories from my wife. You used cruel words and apparently hurt her in the past. But she never said a bad word about you. And do you know why? Because she doesn't care about you and is already moving forward with her life. Moving forward? As her current husband, I demand that you stay away from my wife from now on. Your existence is only harmful to her, especially with your prejudice against women. As a hospital, we cannot overlook what you have done. You were supposed to start working here today, right? Well, you're fired from our hospital effective immediately. What? I'm telling you that you're fired. Remove your hospital badge immediately. Are you kidding me? You can't just act so tyrannically just because you're the director. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying to banish you because I'm Zoe's father-in-law. I judged that your personality is not suitable for our hospital. That's a lie! My career as a doctor... If you have a complaint, you can take it to court or wherever you want. However, be prepared that in that case, your future career will also be over. Damn it! How could this happen? How could this happen?
In the end, my ex-husband left the university hospital that day.
I was wrongfully fired,
was what Floyd was screaming until the end, but the fact that other patients heard his outburst was the decisive reason for his dismissal. Several of the patients were older than I was and were about to also give birth.
You can rest assured that you will have a healthy baby in our hospital.
My current husband is an obstetrician. While receiving his examination, I decided to face forward and focus solely on giving birth, just as he had suggested. 4 months later, our baby was born safely. A healthy boy. I hope he grows up to be a kind human being who doesn't discriminate against people based on their age or appearance. I think he will be okay since he is the child of my current husband. After the baby was born, I visited the cafeteria where I used to work, and the owner told me about my ex-husband's current situation. Apparently, rumors spread quickly in a cafeteria where doctors gather. It seems that even after being fired from the university hospital, he is having trouble finding employment at other hospitals because of the circumstances surrounding his dismissal. He is now doing occasional part-time work and living day by day. Kate, his second partner, was seen once taking a bag to a pawn shop. She looked so worn out in contrast to her wedding photos. Still, there was no doubt that the bag was a brand that my ex-husband had previously given her as a gift. Anyway, it's all in the past now. What matters most to me is taking care of our baby, and despite the challenges, we are living happily every day.